Fudge! We're making fudge! Pumpkin fudge for the holiday season. It is pumpkin spice basically everything, but after those pumpkin spice videos, everyone pretty much knows where I stand with pumpkin spice, but they also know where I stand with pumpkin puree. So I have a ton of pumpkin puree in the cabinet because I got it all on clearance. And so I'm like, well, what can I make using pumpkin puree? I mean, I could always do a pumpkin pie or... it's okay. Enough of my rambling. What I decided was pumpkin fudge. Something that's not usually made all that often. There's so many different recipes you can go off from. You can even just use pumpkin pie spice to make this. But it doesn't come out quite as good as this will. So this is what... Now, this is the first time that I've ever actually made fudge. Any type of fudge. So, let's learn together. Alright. I have 2.5 cups of sugar. Right here. 2 tablespoons of butter. Room temperature. We got a cup of white thingies, whatever these are called. Chips, white chips. I don't want to call them white chocolate chips because they're not chocolatey. They're just white chips. We have evaporated milk. 2/3 cup of evaporated milk. I had to remember. Sorry, my bad. And then we have 3/4 cup of pumpkin puree out of a can. Not that easy pumpkin pie maker stuff. That's got a bunch of seasonings already in it. And we have a teaspoon of cinnamon in there, because that goes in together. And we have a teaspoon of vanilla. And then we have this big old thing of Fluffernutter. However, we're only going to need about 7 ounces. This is 16 ounces. So about half of this container. It's one of the hardest things to measure out. So I'm really just going to eyeball it with a spoon. And hope that I get close. It sticks to everything. Literally everything. Okay. Let's get started. Alright, we put the evaporated milk in here. And the sugar. We're at a medium heat. You're going to want to use at least a 3-quart saucepan. Or a bigger one. I'm using a 5-quart. And your medium heat, medium high heat. And you're going to want to bring it to a boil. Have your pumpkin puree and your cinnamon ready, because that's going to go in after it comes to a boil. And it's already starting here. Did not take long. I've had it in here for maybe a minute. Preparing myself for the next part of the video. Oh yeah. So yeah, the pumpkin puree and stuff's going to go in after, and then we're going to bring it back up to a boil. That's what it looks like when evaporated milk and sugar starts to boil. Alright. I'm going to go ahead and turn the heat right down to nothing, so I can add the pumpkin puree and cinnamon in, and then we're going to bring it back up to a boil. Alright. Putting all our pumpkin puree up in here. I put a little extra in here, this way I didn't have to worry too much about not getting it all out. Because as far as everything goes, this stuff is hard to pull out of a container like this. You could do it right out of a can, you know. You can find a can that has exactly that much in there. All my cans are 14 ounce. There we go. Alright, then just mix that in. Put the heat back on. And let it come up to a boil. After it comes up to a boil, just maintain a mild boil for about 18 minutes. If you have a thermometer, it's about 235 degrees is what you want to maintain that heat at. Okay, we just got done with 18 minutes of perpetual stirring on a medium-low heat, boiling the fudge mixture. That is now all done. I took it off the stove about 2 minutes ago. Gotta let it set a little bit, make it a little bit cooler so you can actually handle it. Here's our fudge mixture. I put the white chocolate chips into a large bowl. And that's hot. That's okay. We're just gonna pour a mixture on top of the chocolate chips. I do recommend stainless steel for any type of sugary cooking. I feel that's easier. I don't know the honest truth on that one. But it looks true. Just lay this zucchini out of there. It's thickening up pretty good. Alright, that on top. We're gonna let that sit for a few more minutes to let the chocolate chips melt. In a couple of the different recipes that I have looked at recently, about 5 minutes is about how long it takes for the chocolate chips to be easily melted and mixed in. Okay, well, we will wait 3 and we will try and stir it. In 3 minutes it has been. Very long 3 minutes. Let's see if... Oh yeah, it's gonna... Oh, it's so hard to mix. A lot harder than I thought it was gonna be. Okay. So we just gotta mix it up until it's all nice and smooth. After it's all nice and smooth, we're gonna add our butter, our vanilla, and our fluffernutter. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and finish this. Okay, and that took the better part of a couple minutes. We are now at the point where we're going to put the rest of our ingredients in. We'll start with the butter. There we go. 2 tablespoons, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and about half this container of fluffernutter. Like I said, I'm going to kind of eyeball 7 ounces because I don't have like a kitchen scale or anything. So that's hard to put one more dollop on there because I can't get it all off the spoon. And that looks about right. If not perfectly, darn close. Yeah, it's a little over half actually. That's okay. It'll just be extra fluffernuttery. And you're supposed to mix it until the butter is all melted. That won't be difficult. This stuff's still pretty piping hot. Ah. Thickening up pretty good though. I never knew how much sugar went into fudge. Although I've never been that big of a fan of fudge. I mean, I'll eat it from time to time, special occasions, but I never thought about making it. Now that I have, I realized my hand's starting to hurt. There's a lot of mixing involved. Alright, I don't see any more butter anywheres. So, It looks pretty evenly mixed, right? Alright, you'll need... A lot of them say 9 by 9 inch with aluminum foil, and then it says heavy duty, non-stick, blah, blah, blah. I figure wax paper will do the job better. So I got wax paper in a 13 by 9 inch cake pan. I like thinner fudge, so I figured the bigger the pan, thinner the fudge is going to be. And the quicker it's going to be cooling down. Also, the reason why I used a bigger pot than is recommended is because it boils quicker, which means you don't have to use as much heat. So. Less heat means less fuel. Less fuel means savings on your bill. Or if you use propane heat or something like that, I mean, it's always good to be conscious of it. Especially if it's something that you do frequently. Okay. The only reason why I really think about it is my dad lives in a trailer using solar power. So he's got to be conscious of every light, when he turns his water pump on, when he turns on the water heater and stuff like that. And he's got to be real careful. Because of that, I'm just a little bit more conscious these days. Always got to come up with solutions, you know? It's a good thing. Always be thinking. Alright, we're just going to smooth this out here. Go all the way to the edges. And hopefully, even with the extra fluff nutter, it's going to thicken up good. Because I may repeat this again. This is my first time ever making fudge. So we are learning together in this video. Alright, I'll let this set up for about an hour and a half. And it should be good to cut and serve. I'm really excited. You could always throw it in the fridge too, I think, but I think it'll be smoother and creamier if you let it set up in room temperature. So, room temperature it is. This bit's going to be shoved somewhere in the middle of the video. And or at the beginning of the video. I don't know, but we took the fudge, we threw it into the cup, because Foxman Gamer's like, I wonder what it would taste, I wonder if it would dissolve in coffee, and what it would taste like. So we threw one of the squares in, which they're about a 1 inch by 1 inch square of fudge, into the cup of coffee, mixed it up, let it dissolve. We tried it, it tastes exactly like pumpkin spice cappuccino. Given it's not cappuccino, it's just coffee with this.
So good. It smells really good too.
I mean, if that's what you're aiming for, that is a lot of cups of pumpkin spice cappuccino.
Now that it's sinking in there, it's tasting more and more like it.
Yeah, that's amazing. That was worth it.
I was curious.
And I recommend wrapping them by like 2s or 3s in wax paper and then putting them into a baggie. This way, it's just better. Those are all individual. Then I got lazy. I did it by 3. This way the fudge doesn't stick to the plastic, and it won't stick to the wax paper because it's wax paper, and it's perfect. All right. Thank you very much for watching.
One more note. If you let it sit, it makes it more and more taste like it. But after a while, it does get a little bit thick in there, so you want to stir it again. But that's it. That's all I had to say.
Alright, later everyone. Thanks so much for watching. I hope that you enjoy this one as much as we did. it's all done. We have had this in the fridge overnight. It's still a little soft. I definitely used a little too much of the marshmallow cream, also known as fluff and or fluffernutter, or just liquid marshmallow, because it's awesome stuff. But that's okay, because a soft fudge is a good fudge, right? It's just not super firm. It's not, the outside isn't like sticky or anything, so it's not sticking to my hand or nothing.
That's the way you want it.
And it's still nice and soft. So I'm not a big fan of fudge, so I'm giving this to Fox Quinn Gamer, who loves fudge. And I will try a little bite because I'm kind of curious.
Actually, I think once it heats up, it'll firm up a bit. This is really good. This is very, very good.
It tastes like a really sweet pumpkin pie. That pumpkin, oh my god. I like this fudge. It's a little too sweet for my taste, but I like this fudge.
It'd be good with coffee.
Mm-hmm. I have a little bit of coffee right here. Oh yeah.
Told you.
That mellowed out the sweetness a bit. So you take a bite of that. Drink coffee.
Perfect.
Oh yeah. So there we have it. Pumpkin fudge. Amazing pumpkin fudge even. For a guy who doesn't like fudge, I like this fudge. Alright, thank you all so very much for watching. Please like this video. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Share them with your friends if you thought this was pretty cool. And,
as always, eat happy.